Going for coffee break, and when we reconvene, it will be fireworks over here, because we're going to the first panel for today, the economy and ease of doing business. I believe all our speakers have spoken into this sub-theme and even the next, which is corporate governance. We shall be glad to have you, Madam Mansanetti, together with Honorable Minister and Professor Kenate for grant the media some interviews. Our resource person will come and facilitate that just at the end of the session. Ladies and gentlemen, before we leave, it's important that we hear from our platinum sponsors, Qualis Group. They are building a new Africa. The founder is here. Please welcome Mr. Kwame Bediako, Nana Kwame Bediako.
Welcome to YAE YouTube channel. Positive.
Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Minister, Excellency, Gracious Grace, CEOs, and my fellow Ghanaians. I would first of all like to start with, can you bring it back, please? So I can, or pause it for a minute. Thank you. So first of all, let me use this opportunity to thank the CEO Summit. It's a great opportunity for them to have created this platform for recognizing Africans, Ghanaians, and even foreign entities who have come into our country to set up platforms to help build our economies. I started my business from a very small scale, and I was just building on one plot. I wanted to be a builder. And I went to the land 3 times. The third time, something told me, why don't you build 2 houses on one plot? So I decided to do so. I built 2 houses on one plot, and that became the principle of my business, maximization. So I'm not a real estate developer. I maximize the use of the land, the spaces. Thank you. This actually opened my mindset for business, and beyond that, for nations. I started to think differently. So from that 2 houses that went on one plot, before Qualis Group was formed, this is what we have done so far, and I'd like to share some of the projects with everyone here. Can we please? So Qualis Group has 5 subsidiaries: Petronia, Wonderworld, Belfast, New Africa Construction, and New Africa Foundation. These are some of the buildings that has come from the 2 houses on one plot. Qualis is a 40 apartment residence in airports. And number 1 by the Dankwa Circle is 108 apartments on 1.5 plot. So this is where the maximization took. From putting 2 houses on one plot to 108 apartments. Bel Air Crest is in Cantonment. It's also 130 apartments on 2 plots. Avenue Lincoln, it's in Rich. Number 2 is yet to be built. Ritz-Carlton is coming up, a great address in Accra, next to Labadi Beach. WW is ongoing. It's the first medical tourism and offices. Graduators is our charity project to be able to provide homes for graduates. JW Marriott, it's also an ongoing project. And these are some of my projects in LA, outside Ghana. In 20 years, I have managed to build over 700 homes from Ghana to other parts of the world. The point that I'm trying to make here, it's what my country has made me become. So I decided to put this together. The revolution of development, how the world has changed from Asia to Dubai, the United Arab Emirates, the evolution of Europe, how we got developed so fast. Now these are countries that are on global economy. what it used to be and what it has become today. The evolution of America is very interesting. It's become one of the strongest engines of the world from how it was built. And it was definitely built on the government working directly with the private sector. They managed to build a one currency, the dollar, out of industrialization. The next place to be developed is Africa.
Behind every vision there is an imagination. Imagine a new Africa, the continent of opportunities. Welcome to the new Africa, Petronius City. At the heart of Ghana's oil-rich western region is a 2,000-acre master-planned city. Within Petronius City is Africa's first energy city, a free zone enclave, manufacturing hub, the oil and gas university, a golf village with an 18-hole world-class golf course, and more. Explore more. Visit petroniuscity.com. Petronius City, building the new Africa.
Okay, thank you. So this is the vision of the Qualis group. Quali is my mother. And I grew up with my mother. She was penniless broke. And so I had to turn this curse to a gift. I wanted to find a way out. But when you're born in a country like Ghana, when the average person is poor, you're all swimming in the same sea. How do you get out? That's where my motivation came from. I needed to move my mom from where she was. I managed to do so. And after that, I decided to build my continent. But I started from my community. I just wanted to build a small place in Accra. I started with these 2 houses. It became 4, then it became 8, then it became 80, then it became 100, and now I want them in thousands. But that's not my dream. My dream is not to be extremely successful or find all these riches from development. My dream is to develop nations and to impact society. I got it from doing businesses. But today, I have realized that if I can put hundreds of homes and start to close the deficits of my own country, then I should be able to help the country get built. Hence, that's how I came up with the vision Petronia. I realized that Africa will not be built without new cities. And just to refer to what you said, Honorable Minister, that if we don't introduce digitization, industrialization, the technology hubs, the financial hubs, how are we going to create these jobs that will create the middle income to sustain our economy? And the reason why I think about the economy is I'm going to share it with you. When you can build 100 homes and you don't really find the people who have the money to buy, you will start to think about how you're going to get those people to become richer. Because I could afford, I have the wisdom to do the development, but when I look at the economy, I can see a huge gap in the economy. So I ask myself, who am I building for? There is no affordability in our systems. Yeah, great banks, congratulations, Madam Mansa, on your 125th anniversary. Yeah, great banks in Ghana. But does it really support our system? There's great corporate governance. But is it endorsed by the government? Or is it time that we realize that the government should now marry the private sector so we can start to revolutionize our sense of development, which will start from industrialization? This is why we are very interested in Petronia. Why did we choose Petronia? I'd like to share this with all of you. Petronia is in the western part of Ghana. The western part of Ghana has over 10 resources concentrated in one area. When you do these numbers, it's over $1 trillion, the proven records of the resources on the ground. I heard you say, Minister, that Africa in a whole, which is 1.2 billion, have a GDP of 3 trillion. We actually have 1 trillion, over 1 trillion, sitting in the western part of Ghana, which makes it by far one of the richest regions on the continent. So what does that tell us? Ghana is the new hub of Africa. We have the most resources that you don't have to travel 200 kilometers or you can find oil or gold. Oil, gold, gas, cocoa, rubber, manganese, bauxite, on and on and on and on. It keeps going. It's all in the western region. Opposite us is the coast. The coast, the sea, is going to be our biggest business, logistics. The richest man in the world, one of the richest, Jeff Bezos. He's just a transporter. Logistics. So if we believe that the AFTA is going to be a part of Africa's revolution about trading, then we should remember that the private sectors should be able to situate themselves on platforms that will industrialize the entire economy. I don't see why we should buy 5,000 iPhones, import it from China, and come to Ghana to sell it. It's a plant. That same plant can be integrated, and that's it. We don't have to import again. Our computers, everything that we're importing, can actually be industrialized in our own country. So my question is, when I did my research, there is 92% of importation in our countries. But today, we have over 400 CEOs here. Why are we still importing? 92% means somebody takes the money from the system, goes out of the country, buy things, put it in a container, ship it here, and when they get here, they pay taxes, and they sell the same product times 10 or times 5. Suck all the money from their system again, and go back to the manufacturer. The day that we Ghanaians and Africans would have a whole industrial platform that is producing all of these things, would cut the importation and subsidize it with exportation. That would bring us more than 15 to 20% of our GDP. Ghanaians and Africans would have a whole industrial platform that is producing all of these things, would cut the importation and subsidize it with exportation. That would bring us more than 15 to 20% of our GDP increment. It would change the economy. Then I can sell houses. Then I can really sell apartments. Then I can build 10,000 homes. Because at this very moment, if you ask me that I'm a developer and I should go and get funding and build 1,000 homes or 10,000 homes because people need low-income houses and all of that, I'll tell you no. It needs a full integration. Without the integration, it's not going to work. And it needs a lot of planning. It needs a lot of industrial aspect. These are the changes that I believe this post-COVID has opened up to Africa. We have to understand that today we don't have to travel to another man's country to be able to bring back home what we need. Because people are not allowed anyway. You don't want to go through this quarantine. You don't want to do all of this. It means you have to stay where you belong and create what your people need and build your nation. This is the empowerment that I have had from this current situation of the world. I've realized that we need to build our own. So, I'd like to urge most of the CEOs here and all the great people here right now to support the vision of us building our industrial platforms. Technology is industrialization. It's a revolutionary industrialization, and it's taking over the world by surprise. And we need to merge that with manufacturing and create more CEOs. On that note, I would like to say I'm retiring from a CEO and I'm going to become an industrialist. So my post is available for grabs. If there's anyone here that is interested to continue with some of the things I'm doing, you're more than welcome to do so. But my mission, my vision, is to go into the industrial sector of this country. I have done so much with residential and commercial. Now I'm going into industrial. And all these three things are real estate. This gives me the opportunity to define my business, my work, real estate. How you can turn functional spaces into anything and make it available for sale. Industrialization is my next stop. And I would like to urge all of you to support the dream and the vision of Petronia, being able to create an industrial hub and have a distribution channel that would help and support the African free trade.
She's still bawumia, like on it. And even kwananye mami for PC, me wanna for people Ghana, they send you a message. Who are you voting for this year? Almost say, oh, maybe Nimo NDC. And I'm saying, no. Muntina na kwame be there conquer. Oh, there be on you serious. I'm saying, what are you talking about? Say, on you serious? Then I take my time to educate them about the kind of industrialization that he is bringing. This is the problem, right? People, when you have been in a certain condition for too long, people think that they cannot come out of that condition. If people have been in a certain situation for too long, they think they cannot come out of it. Like, this is how we have lived. What shows that is going to change? And before the new force came last year, I kept telling my husband is in Ghana, I kept telling him that there is a change coming in Ghana, and the change that is coming, no human being can stop it because it is coming from God. Oh, Ghana for now, send your mind at your pants. I'm never na yena me say in Sakaye ba Ghana, in Sakaye ne ba no. Oh, nipe bianye den entumi nsia no kwan if sinyame na edeba. And lo and behold, there is so many in betweens to this junction, but I've been following Anakwa Media since 2021. I talk about him all the time. When the max came, I said it is same. Lo and behold, it was him because he was the only person 3 years ago God put on my heart that he is the only person that can bring change to Ghana. So in terms of talking about industrialization, people think that this is a country, this is the way it has been for so long. And how is it possible that something like this can happen in a country like Ghana? But they need to come to an understanding that a country like the UAE, they started their development in 1971. When they started to develop, even the people of that nation didn't believe it was possible. They didn't believe because they had lived a low life for so long. They didn't believe it was possible until their leaders rose up and say, this is what we think we can do and we are going to implement it. And now Ubusa Obi of UAE say, because one thing Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid will always say is, I want to make my people happy. And in order to make my people happy, I need to give them development. So I want to make my people happy and I need to give them development. So the building of any nation depends on a good leader. And by the grace of God, he has given us Nana Kwame Bediako, who has exemplified in his private life that through his good leadership, these are the things that he's been able to do. And when we give a country like Ghana to him, this is what he can do. And he has given us the pillars, the steps, and all the ways that he's going to do it. So people, more and more people needs to come to a realization that number one, this is a man that God has sent to us. This is a man that God has given to us. Number two, this is a man that in his own private life, it is not easy like for a country like Ghana to have build your businesses, to do such development in your private life and be so successful. And the amazing thing about Nana Kwame Bediako's project is the fact that he used foreign templates to build his buildings. He used foreign employers to build his own building. So if a person has all these people around him, if a person has all this knowledge, if a person can come up with strategies or even a quine almost a quine almost, but eventually after the before you know, you have to look at the loopholes, in order to get things done. And he's been able to do it. This is the right person for us to give the country to lead a country like Ghana. This is the right person. Sometimes people talk about Parliament or we need Abana, not so a president only him for a beruni oberuli abano. This is one thing I always say in my life. Where there is a will, there is a way. Where there is a will, there is a way. Even in his personal life, he talks about maybe our UK almost the ebe share the car. Ebe lock in the car. Now I jump the tie no. Now we eat that na cotton. No I start pumping the car ne back. Bibia no. I was say we use nyans now. O think outside of the box. How even though I didn't need, but quite best na make me a fast so home. Na ma could do baby I me could do. And that is how Nana Kwame Bediako thinks. That is how Nana Kwame Bediako thinks. Even lately. Me sorry, I say, maybe hotel or Ghana, but as I have listened to him for this past few months, I've come up with a plan and a project to build my own chocolate factory in Ghana. Because how is it possible that a country like Ghana can be one of the producers of cocoa, but not one of the manufacturers of chocolate, which is a $1 billion company? Like how? And as I've listened to him, I've come to even my own vision has broadened. And many Ghanaians need to understand that if we give the country to a man like this, there is many things and many ways that he is going to utilize to build the nation. And in few years to come, ye be Gina Ghana, ye engine this Ghana ni Gina no. Na me be kwai. Na yeto abama na Kwame Bediako no winya o. In few years to come, ye be Gina Ghana, ye need this Ghana ni Gina no. My voice message is almost 10 minutes. I didn't plan to. But yeah. And I don't know if I really say ebe hadwe okay. Ehu nya say ye be call live and bibisa, but I just want to commend you for the good work that you are doing. Say nyame nhira o monkoso mbom homode moni omo maka nyina aya mehwe sa apostle no apostle no mepanasem pa there's a few more, but I just want to say thank you to you guys for your good work. And I believe strong in my heart that in this coming election, Nana Kwame Bediako stands a chance of winning, because nyame akano ni pebia into me saying me da wase bebre
lions na egu ni fie no obi anka hohwe oye na adwen se obe contest for politics pa and you say se bona egu ni fie ni dangerous e betunya chi obi awe no to aso cheda enya ma ye no na obi anim se cheda ye na dwuma ye ni sikeni a otua ne tax oye se obe contest ya ye se akwani ntua tax. No program ba ko mo ya onwo che bibia ne properties wo cheda yenim se wo dan wo ha obi so be o man pagina bibia ne dan sia fa ho ban na wonni mo bisa akokọ da akọ wonni mo bisa pa kwesi ndum NDC and MPP omo hijack wo man. I'm telling you omo hijack ko no mbo ne pass enti we wuti pe no mpeso mo pe kwan bi so ebre wase na men ka se be che me ne Kevin Taylor me pe na sempa my friend me boss pen my friend my boss pay because I'm only 2 hours on the TV so for free. Why amazing guy. But and many not just says will be supporting NDC. And the main video be say cheddar your cronfona or your cronfona. Don't do that, my brother. Men yes I Kevin. Who they support to John Hammer? You will campaign mano and you my power yeah the catch the Ghana for. Obi ba allow him. Me avoid the Moshe. Now you go for the case from you are too smart. Common sense no. You be see a board make a political party. Me na me said na me Ghana so dey say. E don make me say me we am Ghana man penginia akwada bia up to the age of 17. Not we to be 1,000 Ghana every month. Crowway. Any mrewa from 60 years going, mama be 1,000 every month. This country called Ghana, we have more than enough resources for us to have a poor person in this country. Now in this Ghana, leave your name and request the boy say. Ukra fertile land okra banche. 50 years ago, you be Dubai Ghana Quebec CMP. You say desert here you fertile land. Yet Emma Arabu free at your so a creating island, artificial island, a creating artificial sea, India artificial port. I stand to be corrected. I'm said the biggest artificial port wo ever India. Ghana 40 share your movies movies first Indian film no mu shoot to adan nek pon okay nyansa Indian film o lesre o mu shot pon yet it wo ma Indian for brand your mom and Indian for telling no and ya father did chi asabetu your mo 20 years ago Chinese film na nyansa be ne wo ya bi yen chese yen ji hwi ndin yete wana with that Christ